Hey YouTube, this is Felix. This video you're about to watch was recorded from my free weekly community talks that runs every Thursday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Malaysia time. And if you'd like to attend these talks of mine for free and live, the link to the sign up page for Thrive Together can be found in the video description. Thank you and enjoy. So this part here is a continuation of the series that we have done for the past few weeks. And the past few weeks we talked about hyper-desirability part 1 and part 2 last week. So to really scan through it for a while, just to refresh. This part right here, the part 1, is all about the having and the doing. It's all about what are the things that you need to have in your business and what do you need to do, especially the endless emotional content. What do you need to do in order for you to become that person who is hyper desirable? And yes, if you are hyper desirable, you don't have to do much to attract clients because clients will be attracted to you. Clients will come to you. And part 2 is about the being. How do you actually do all of these things over here without being burned out, without being ineffective, while staying true to your core values and being authentic? It is all got to do with your worldview, your feelings, your behaviors, the beingness over here that is created from the way that you see everything. If somebody sees the world as a dreadful place, then the beingness is also of a certain kind. If somebody sees the world as a wonderful place, the beingness is that of a wonderful kind. And today we're going to talk about part 3, the perspective. Because I realized that even though knowing all of this, it is really just theoretical. Somebody who knows this can have the theory of the beingness of a hyper-desirable. But what I really want to help you guys with is to help you guys develop the perspective. And in order for me to do that, suspend your disbelief. This particular topic is quite tough for me to plan. When I study them and when I talk to them, they have a certain way of seeing the world that they don't really share with other people because it is odd, it is weird. And it is precisely because of the way they see life and the way they see the world that created a certain kind of feelings within them. And those feelings gets transferred to the people who they interact with. Every interaction, every experience that you have of them comes because when they are interacting with you, they have a certain kind of mindset, certain kind of beingness that goes beyond even mindset. And this mindset or perspective is severely different from or how people normally are. So what I want to do today is I want to show you what this mindset is. And in an attempt of using analogies and metaphors and stories, I'm attempting to help you anchor in your mind what it really means to be a hyper-desirable. And I hope you, when you're listening to this, you're able to detect the conflicts that is coming up within your heart, because the conflicts will come up within your heart. And as the conflicts come within your heart, don't immediately dismiss or accept it. Question it. Let's have a conversation. And you will feel resistance because it's so staggeringly different from the worldview is so staggeringly different from most people's worldview. But some of you may feel you can sense the truth in this. And if you sense the truth in this, explore on it some more, lean on it some more, because it can give you, hopefully, some profound realizations as it did me. So this part here, part 3, I want to share with you guys first this photo here. This is the photo of the sun. And as I talk about this, I want us all to kind of meditate on this. Really have this at the back of our mind. What is the sun? It's a star. It's something that suspends itself up in the sky. It just sits there. And life becomes possible. It doesn't have to do anything in order for it to create impact. It creates an impact of changing what was impossible into possible by just existing. That is something which is very profound if you really think about it. Without the sun, life would not be possible. By just the sun's existence, everything becomes possible. The sun doesn't have to try and attract things, and yet it is attractive. How attractive? Well, our entire solar system revolves around the sun. That is how attractive it is. The sun doesn't have to try to shine. The sun doesn't have to try and stand out. The sun stands out in and of itself. The sun doesn't reject anything. In fact, the sun accepts everything. The power of its gravity is such that it accepts more and more matter and mass into its own self, and the force of the gravity is so powerful that atoms fuse together, creating fusion energy. This ball of light that you see right here is a product of billions and billions of reactions, perhaps even trillions, I don't even know. I'm not a physicist. Happening every second. And as it attracts more matter, more mass coming into itself, it transforms. It doesn't have to try and transform. It transforms. It changes. Even though from afar, it looks the same, but it's happening. But the transformation happens within itself. Every second, every moment, something is changing inside itself. How do we know this? Because there is a lifespan to the sun. After a certain amount of mass has been reached, or a certain amount of time has gone by, it will either go inert or it will transform into a black hole. And so I bring you guys to this idea here of the sun, because to me, in my mind, it is an object which is the most crucial. I use the word hyper-desirable, but the sun is beyond hyper-desirable. It is absolute necessity in order for life to happen. It is such a profoundly valuable thing in our solar system, and yet it does nothing and yet everything at the same time. So bringing it back to the area of business, or the area of how we behave in our life, there are so many things that people are talking about in terms of attracting clients, in terms of doing things. And so many people try to show themselves to be a kind of person, put on a facade so that they can appear attractive. And there's all these kinds of stuff that people do all the time. And those things will get you somewhere for sure. It gets you somewhere. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that you do all of these things. Because I think, and this is my own personal opinion, I think that all the success that people are seeing is not happening because of so many things that they are doing, but in spite of so many things that they are doing. Because there is a fundamental transformation that us as humans are going through, even if we don't want it to. It happens, and we can choose to either resist the transformation or we embrace the transformation. This topic is particularly abstract and particularly deep, but I think it is the key to attaining hyper-desirability. And I will start by showing you this. I'm going to do it by this way. Whatever I just said just now is what the sun does. I simplify it down to this column right here. And I'm going to explain what do people normally do, and then what do masters do. I want you to think about a kind of person in your life that you consider to be a star, that you consider to be the sun. Who could that person be? There are many examples happening around. The literal example of a star is a star. Celebrities, right? Celebrity coaches, celebrity trainers, celebrity actors, celebrity chefs, celebrity. There are certain things that people are doing in an attempt to become a star. And then there is the star. I want you guys to think about the star. And I want you guys to detect the contrast in the way somebody is, and in the way they are being, and in the way they behave, and see what is the difference between the two. Based on the example of the sun, I outlined 5 fundamental shifts that needs to happen. The first shift is this. Here's what the sun does. Sun sits and life becomes possible. Here's what people normally do. They like to make things happen because the idea is hard work is necessary. It is important to constantly push ourselves to do the things that we don't want to do the things that we hate, so that in a transactional way, we are able to finally get what we want. And this shows up in relationships. It especially shows up in business. And a lot of times we are doing all of these things from a hard work perspective and hard work mentality. We like to trade certain things for something else. I give you this so that you can give me that. It's all very brainy, very logical. And then when some people are not giving you the kinds of things which you expect them to give, then you get upset. And you see it again and again and again, both within ourselves as well as in society at large. There are people who try to give you something, but it's like, hey, why? Making things happen also extends to trying to change the external world, to fit where we are, to fit ourselves. Why are we coaches? Why are we trainers? Whatever it is that you want most in your life, why do you want it? What are the things that you are trying to do in an attempt to get it? Those are all examples. Some people try to make things happen in their company. Some people try to make things happen within their family. All over the world, every day, everybody is trying to make things happen, trying to change the external world to fit what they think of is the right thing. But the masters don't do that. They find a place where they belong, which means there is a place where you are already valued. There is a community where you are already valued. There is a company, there are partners, there are markets that already want you. It's where you belong. In fact, they don't just want you, they need you. They are hungry for you. There are things that they are trying to do that they cannot get done unless you are there. It is a matter of finding a position, finding a place, instead of finding people. Instead of going out and looking at this person, reaching out to this person, and then that person doesn't want you, or maybe that person will work, and you go and try to, and that person doesn't want you, or maybe that company, or maybe this, or maybe that. No, either find a place or create a place, and staying in that place where you are powerful, where you are needed, when people are happy to have you, and you are happy to have them. The second shift, the sun shines without trying. Think about this. Many people out there are trying to prove themselves. You go to social media, go to any social media, go to any Facebook groups, go to any Instagram, any LinkedIn. People are writing. There's an underlying current of writing. When they are writing or when they are videoing, they're trying to prove their worth. They're trying to stand out. We spend so much time to do things in an attempt to attract people, to get that validation from people. You're good, Felix, you're good. But the brain is a very interesting thing. The mind has a very limited amount of resources. And when you allocate a mass majority of your attention span to proving yourself, funny things happen. You stop improving yourself because you stop to be who you are, who you really are. And you try to be what you think people might like in an attempt to win them over. But if it is true that there is a place that you belong, the more you try to prove yourself to people who are not gonna care about you anyway, the less time you will have, the less attention you will have to actually go into the place where you actually do belong, that you can make an impact. So the masters don't do that. The masters are unapologetic, sincere, and vulnerable. Unapologetic means however they behave, they don't apologize for it. Not only do they not apologize, when I say unapologetic, I am not talking about not doing. I'm talking about being. Being unapologetic means they don't even feel sorry. They don't even feel sorry about who they are. They're sincere. Some of you heard me saying this. Humility is pointless. Be sincere. When you want to know, when you know something, you say you know. When you don't know, you say you don't know. If you have, you say you have. If you don't have, you say you don't have. Being sincere about where we are at in life, rather than trying to prove. And it is only when we are sincere, coming from the heart, are we then able to have a deep level of congruence within ourselves, aligned, integrous, and finally vulnerable, being willing to to admit, to be aware of, to accept, to acknowledge what we think of as our flaws. I say what we think of because it's honestly really just what we think of. Because sometimes we think that we are bad at something, but actually we are not bad at something. It's just the way it is. But we just can't accept that part about ourselves. So we work so hard to try and mask those areas, when there are people out there who can see your so-called weaknesses and find that to be a strength. There are people out there who see your so-called flaws and they say, that's exactly what I want in a person. So being unapologetic, sincere, and vulnerable, rather than trying to prove yourself. One key point over here, that before we move on to the next point, I feel the need to share this. You see, we live in a 3D world. We have a 3D existence. There is up and there's down. There's front and there's back. There's left and there's right. There's so many different directions that we can appreciate. But people like to use this word, I want to be the best. What is the best? Up and down. Highest and lowest. Top and bottom. There are so many dimensions to life. But so many people limit their appreciation of life to just one ladder. One vertical slim ladder. And when you see life this way, you won't be able to appreciate anything else other than top and bottom. And then there's also so many people who are thinking about first and last. First means forward, last means backward. Again, one dimension only. There are so many dimensions in life. It is when somebody is able to let go of all of these and see the uniqueness of how life is, of how everyone is, then the appreciation of the beauty can start to come. And when you're really appreciating the beauty in everyone, do you think you'll be able to show up being friendlier? Do you think you'll be able to show up being more loving, more kind? Do you think that people will see you in the same way as they are right now? Because how often is it that people feel that they're in a place where nobody is appreciating them? Now, what if you can be the source of the appreciation? What if you are the person who first started to appreciate them? How will they see you? That is something to think about. Now, next one. Sun knows its shine when it's being reflected. What people are normally doing, they're trying to be valuable. Sorry, before I go that, I go there, I want to stop for a while. Have I lost you guys? No, because all of your faces like so serious. I want to know if I lost you guys or are you in deep thinking? This is it's a good thing that you are turning on the camera. Yeah, thank you for staying with me. All right, so we are talking something deep over here. So if you guys feel lost, please ask me the question so I can, All right. Many people try to be valuable, and when they don't see that they are valuable, they doubt themselves. They doubt their ability, they doubt their value and their place within the community. The other day, I was having a conversation with a friend on Facebook Live, on this little Facebook group called Freedom Initiative. And we were having a conversation. He was asking me for advice. He said, what should I do? I'm not sure I'm doing a lot of things. Am I really valuable? And I asked him this question. How does the sun knows its shine? If you are the sun, how do you know that you are shining? Because your eyes cannot see itself. Do you follow? The eye cannot see itself. The sun is the embodiment of light. And if you are bright, you can't tell that you are bright. Everything else seems dark. When you are the brightest object in the room, everything else seems dark. Let us reflect on that in a moment. When you see everything else except yourself as dark, how does that make you feel? It doesn't make most people wouldn't feel very good, but you should feel very good because it means that you are the brightest object in the room and you have the opportunity to give other people light. The thing is, how do you know what is the value that you have? Most people try to prove their value when they are in a company, when they are in a team. They try to do all kinds of things, come up with all kinds of small little actions so that other people can affirm their worth, trying to prove their value. But in reality, trying to be valuable is like the sun trying to shine. It makes no sense. There is a certain level of output that you are right now. There is a certain level of output in the value that you do in your work. And the value is reflected in the lives that you touch, in terms of its intensity, in terms of its impact. So the masters are observing more than they are doing. Whatever you do, you see first. What is the effect of my action? What is the effect of my action right now? If people aren't thanking me, it doesn't mean anything. It simply means that it is not being reflected. Am I in the right place? Even if I'm not in the right place, let's move to a different place. But sometimes, in the case of my friend, he was so critical of himself. He's like, why aren't I doing more? And everybody around him is telling him, Aaron, you are brilliant, you are amazing, you have been so helpful, thank you so much, you have been a wonderful person. He was not paying attention to his shine that was being reflected off of other people. When people are telling you how much you mean to them, how does that make you feel? Our Malaysian attitude, 90% of it, feel awkward. Oh, you're very smart. Oh, no lah. Oh, you're so pretty. No, No. To be a master is to be gracious. To be a hyper desirable is also to be gracious in appreciation. If you see your own light being shining back at you through other people, just accept and embrace that. Seeing more than doing. Observe first. See first before you do anything. The fourth shift is this. The sun grows by accepting everything. How do people normally grow? You see, the reason why the sun grows is because the gravity attracts matter. The matter comes, and the moment the matter combines with the sun, there is an inward movement into itself. The inward movement is what gives it power. It is not an outward movement. The sun doesn't gain its power by dispersing itself, which is exactly what everybody is doing. Constantly dispersing. Going everywhere, being a peacock. The typical marketing approach. The sun shines because of that inward movement, and the sun also grows. And the inward movement comes as a consequence of that growth. How does it grow? It doesn't say no. What do people normally do? They take no bullshit. Everything that people... Just go to any social media. Whenever there is somebody who posts something which is of an opinion or an idea, whenever somebody posts a stance, right? Whenever somebody says, I stand for this, this is what I believe in, you just look at the comments section. There will be people who say I agree, and there will be people who say I disagree. I want to ask your critical mind for a second. Is it necessary for you to agree or disagree? Can you just listen and remain undecided? Can you do that? Logically, yes. But many people cannot handle that. Most people, they need to immediately decide whether they agreed with a belief or they disagree. There is no thinking. Or maybe they think for a second or a minute, and then they type more than they think. Notice that people respond, people speak, people say things so much more than they think, than they explore. But how can someone learn? How can someone grow by that? Every single one of you here have been through some form of personal development program. When you are introduced to a new challenging idea, imagine if you immediately reject every idea. Inasmuch as you are strong and firm in your own beliefs and philosophy, there is a reason why somebody else on the other side of the world is strong and firm in their beliefs and philosophy. And at times, their belief and their stance may be completely at odds with yours. It is untrue for you. It is lie for you. It is false for you. But it is completely true for them. Who are we to say what is right and what is wrong? So the masters accepts bullshit because bullshit makes amazing fertilizer. Now, there is already an immediate conflict happening. But Felix, I don't have time. But Felix, I cannot have no boundaries. I know. There is an evolution of sorts that happens in a human's life. We all go from not having our own voice to finding our voice to then speaking, using our voice for other people. We all go through a stage where we have no boundaries to having very strong boundaries to finally being boundless. When you are reaching a certain point in your life, you need to start abandoning belief because beliefs are a crutch. It is simply there for when you need a certainty where there is none. When you are truly wanting to be free, and when you're truly wanting to become somebody who is able to really grow fast, it is important to understand that learning happens in the conflict. Whatever it is that conflicts your existing beliefs, there is something there. There is a reason why the other person holds so strongly to that. So appreciate all of this. And finally, the sun transforms without trying. It becomes inevitable. What do most people do? They try to improve. They try to change their mind. They try to listen. They try to learn. It's just a lot of trying. Why is there a need for trying? The reason why there is a need for trying to accept is because there is certain resistance within us that prevents the acceptance from happening. If the resistances inside is melted away, then there is no need for trying. See, life, sometimes people ask questions, like when I go on TikTok, there is a Q&A section where a lot of people ask all kinds of questions. One of the question is, why do bad things keep happening to me? My response is this: because life is like a mother, life is like a mom. When your mom wants you to change something about yourself, so that you can have a happier life, so that you can improve, she will start by whispering to you. She'll be very kind, loving, and compassionate. And it is up to you whether you want to listen or not. And then if you don't listen, and you continue to behave the way you behave, the soft whisper is gonna become a little bit louder. And then you have a second opportunity to listen. If you still don't listen, it's gonna be even louder. And it's gonna get louder and louder and louder until a certain point, enough is enough. She's gonna drag you kicking and screaming to make the change for you. So why do bad things happen in our life? Bad things happen in our life because we haven't been listening. We haven't been listening to the opportunities to change. So what people do is that they try to improve and they try to do all kinds of things, all kinds of trying. The masters let life shape you. See, everything that has happened to you, everything that is placed in front of you is absolutely 100% necessary. 100% necessary. It is up to you whether you choose to use it or not. You can either accept feedback or not. You can accept conflicting opinions or not. You can take that chance or not. You can take a risk or not. Whatever it is that you do, whatever choice you do, whatever it is that you think you choose, everything is absolutely necessary. Even the mistakes that you make and the successes that you get, everything is 100% necessary. Because Steve Jobs said this: you can only see the pattern in your life when you connect the dots backwards. It is only when you reach this point, then you look back. Let me ask you this: when has your life ever goes according to plan? When I was 8 years old, I dream of having this and this and this and this and this. Now I'm 32 years old. I got exactly what I want. Anybody got that? Nobody got that. Life never goes according to plan. It is not about what we want for life. It's what life wants for us. So a knife is living its purpose when it's chopping vegetables, when it's cutting things in the kitchen. But how can a knife be a knife when it is complaining with every grind? When the knife maker is making the knife, sharpening it, when you sharpen one time, that hurts. Sharpen another time, that hurts, god damn it, stop it. Again. Nothing is gonna change. The knife will never become a knife like that. So where in life do you complain with every grind? Let life shape you. So these are the 5 shifts that you need to do, that you need to change. From making things happen to finding a place where you belong and staying there. Finding a place of power. Trying to prove, to being unapologetic, sincere, vulnerable. In other words, just be yourself. Don't try to prove anything. Just be yourself. Instead of trying to be valuable, observe, see the results of your actions before you take another action. Instead of taking no bullshit, learn how to accept some bullshit a little bit. Instead of trying to improve, let life shape you. But I'm not done. I have some few key things here. Aside from these 5 shifts, how can you actually manage these 5 shifts? There are 5 things you need to do. There are 5 things needed. Not 5 things you need to do. There's 5 things needed. First is learning. If you do not know what needs to be done, you can't do what needs to be done. The second thing, willingly, not forcefully, willingly. Go within yourself, work on yourself to do the things you hate. This is what I call hard work. Do the things you hate, but not forcing yourself to do so. Being willingly doing so. Whatever you find to be scary, do that. Whatever you find to be tedious, boring, do that. Especially if whatever it is that you have strongest resistance in, that will generate you the most amount of results in your life, do that. You also need to learn how to develop the skill. You need to develop the skill of detecting resistance. Because whatever it is that you don't like to do, there is a reason why you don't like to do it. Is it posting online? Is it running? Is it doing videos? Is it doing tedious work? I'm not asking you to do every tedious work. I'm asking you to do the things that you hate that will give you the most significant amount of results. But in order for you to do that, you need to be able to do hard work. Which means you need to be able to go within yourself and detect the resistances. What is it exactly that you feel about this that make you not want to do it? And then you need to reflect. Reflect on what is actually happening over here. Once you detect the resistance, why is the resistance there? What needs to be done to remove the resistance? How can I melt it all away? And feedback. Feedback is important. It is important to have a community of people who you can trust to give you the feedback, because every one of us have a blind spot. A community who you can trust that also trusts you at the same time. Because if they don't trust you to be able to accept their feedback, they will not give you their feedback. So learn, do the things you hate, detect resistances, reflect, and feedback. This is the reason why in Unstoppable You, there is a roadmap that tells you what to do. Most of these things that is inside the roadmap, people don't like to do. I was just having a conversation with a couple of them this morning. Somebody come in and they love going through all this spreadsheet and thinking and writing all these things down. And then the moment you ask them to post something online, they procrastinate, endless procrastination. And then there are also some other people, they love going out to connect with people, right? To write posts, to do video, they love it. The moment you ask them to sit behind and really think about what is their value proposition, they procrastinate. So procrastination is the key. What are you procrastinating right now? Whatever you are procrastinating to doing right now, you should probably do that. That will probably be the highest path for your personal development. And this is also the reason why that we have a daily intention setting. Do you have something like that? Find it, right? There are. It doesn't have to be in UU. It can be anything. There are some people who meets with their mastermind every day. There are some people who have a certain trusted group of friends where everyone is successful and they meet them every day, right? Do you have a structure like that? I encourage you to have that. And this is also why Unstoppable You have weekly clarity calls, feedback calls. Like after this, I'm going straight to the feedback calls. Having basically the point being is having people who can tell you your blind spot and remind you again and again and again for as long as you can hear, as long as you need to hear. This is a very important thing. So if you want, I can help you with that also. But that is all for today.